Hello, I am Tulip chowdhury, welcoming you to episode 3 of Hourglass Trails. And today we are going to talk about parenting puzzles and all the countless problems and prospects that we have with it. For often it is an unanswered questions for us, and Hourglass Trails can cover only a drop of water in the sea of problems, but we are going to talk with two parents today. One parent comes from a younger generation, and the other on the time frame, the other parent is from a different time gap. So we'll know what their opinions and their thoughts are on parenting as they have been doing it and still are doing it. So let's see, we'll start with Parveen. So Parveen, Sultana, she is a journalist, and she has come to join us to talk about how she has found parenting. Welcome, Parveen. Thank you very much for joining us. And we have the younger generation parent with, I'm sure, more complex, I think. We have here Mohammad, Shakhawat.
Thank you.
And he is going to talk about his little children and how he is finding parenting. And Parveen, Sultana, she has 2 adult daughters. So she has already sailed over the most of the tough waters and maybe now more busy with grandchildren. So we have generations of parenting here. So first I'll start with Parveen and see what she has to say to some questions we have today. Parenting these days is one of the most challenging roles by people. And while we see that men and women, especially who were behind walls at a time, they are climbing Mount Everest, they are going to the moon, but sometimes they choose not to have children. And sometimes the whole parents, they don't want any children. What do you think about that? I mean, is this a wise thing in the longer run for our whole world that we are choosing not to have children? For parents who are very much capable of bringing up children, well educated. So what would you say to these decisions?
Yes, first I have to say that parenting is very tough, not today, but in our time it is very tough to raise a child, especially for the working parents, and I have to say especially for the working mother. If there are no support in family, it is very difficult for a mother or a father to raise their children. And you say about having no children in future, I don't think it is a wise decision because it may disturb our civilization. We have to come forward with our children. Children is our future. So we have our children, but I think if there are some support from family, from establishment, from our working places, then it is not so tough for raise a child or to bring out a civilized, a gentle, educated generation. That's
okay. All. Thank you. Now, I also support you on that. And in fact, in a place I was reading that USA, for the first time in history, they have more single women than men.
Yeah.
So that really was alarming for me too, because I was thinking if women, we have children even when we're single, but family values remain the same from the beginning of civilization. So if we have less children, I was wondering, where will mankind go? So on that respect, let's see the younger generation who is still struggling with the parenting issues. So Mohammad, can you say, as the balancing that Parveen was mentioning about difficulty in balancing home and office, why do you think it's so difficult, and does it give you any solutions when other people help you?
Well, thank you, Tulip, for asking the questions. The fact is, yes, parenting is a challenge, but the challenges remain the same like the other challenges you're facing while you are trying to establish yourself. So, if you want to escape this challenge, you may escape the other challenges as well. So, regarding like you are talking the fact, the support of the families as well as other places like working places as well. So yeah, it's difficult. It's so difficult to balance work, family life balance. So particularly, very specifically, if I can say that your partner, the role of your partner, how he or she can think about it, how much he or she can sacrifice and balance the family life as well.
Okay.
And then the workplace as well. If you can settle up these issues with your partner, so you should take the challenge as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
As Parveen was saying that, part of the balance that we get from raising children between work and all that. So her daughters are grown up, and your ones are still young. So often, like when marriages go sour, we hear people saying, "If I knew this, I wouldn't get married." So when you have two kids running over shoulders and you're everywhere, do you think that you would have thought twice about family planning if you were going backwards in time?
Honestly speaking, all depends on your capability, your facilities, and your management resource as well.
Okay.
The fact is, as Parveen said about the balance, sometimes it might feel like that, that if I am not married, so this stress should not belong to me. The fact is, as I said before, it is also a great challenge. I think this is the most wonderful and lovely challenge for a human being. So you cannot escape that. Otherwise, you can take it in a different way. Like if you're thinking that you can set up your dreams, your passion, your love by your kids, and if you have that capability, you can go for more kids. As I have two, I wish to have more if I have that capacity or that resources as well.
So you are on that train and you want to ride it to the end. Oh, that's good. Wish you good luck. So Parveen, coming back to you, between your own childhood and how you have seen your parenting, how your parents have guided you, do you think there is a vast difference between how you have guided your children, or for that matter, you watch your children guiding their children? What's the major differences you see now?
There are vast differences.
Okay.
Actually, when we are teenagers or we're children, we wouldn't dare to talk back to our mother. We have to obey our parents, what they want. We don't have any liking about our food or our outfits or anything. Even we cannot sleep over at any friend's home. My parents drop our in school and pick our up there, from there. But for our children, when our daughters are teenagers, we let them to go out with their friends. They have they sometimes they can misbehave with us, but we don't mind. But we don't have that dare to with our parents.
Okay.
And now I saw that our granddaughter, she's only 2 years old, but I saw that my daughter and his husband have they raised their daughter differently. They respect their children. They hear what they are saying. They have respect their opinions. Even our two-year granddaughter can choose their own outfit. And you know that when we feed our children, we consider how much he or she eat. But now I saw that the parents today, they consider how what they are eating is healthy food or balanced food, and there are a lot of differences. But I appreciate this parenthood.
Okay, thank you very much. In that context, I think it's now that with education and wisdom, we have learned the value of individual freedom.
Yeah.
In that context, the ingrained democracy that we want to put into a child without spelling it out, that you have a voice. She begins it right from the crib, right? She says, wow, or he says, why, and you have to respond, because I am someone.
And they will become a confident
Yes.
person.
So in that course, I was wondering, I mean, from your time frame of parenting to Mohammad's time frame of parenting, there's an issue of whether you are a boy or a girl, right? There were some liberties given to the boys, and as well the girls were kept back. And I don't think it's an isolated Asian culture or anything. Maybe it was less in Western culture, but it belonged everywhere. So, Mohammad, I would like to know your own experiences of what you see in giving. You have a son and a daughter. So do you give liberty to the daughter more or the son more, although they are still small? Or suppose they are teenagers, what will you still do? Will they be equal in your eyes? Will they get the democracy you are ingraining in them in your home too? Or then you are going to step in and say, no, you are a girl and you are a boy?
Well, it's a very tricky question. Thank you, Tulip. Honestly speaking, the fact is, what society you are living now, and even if when they will turn as teenage, I should judge the culture and social security at that time, as well as this time as a parent. Because first of all, I want to make the environment safe, both for my son as well as my daughter. So, naturally, maybe people can think that a man can get a little bit privileged instead of a woman, but it belongs to the social security and the culture as well. So here, if we will live here or somewhere else, I will look for them. At that time, the social security, as I told, it will bias my decision. But at home, I love to give the same privilege to my kids. Their kids, there's no son or daughter.
Okay, thank you. In that context, I'll come to the mother, the daughter who may be held back sometimes. So Parveen, tell me, if that was a boy and a girl issue, would you support Kiran in saying that you'll fall back when the society says so, although you are doing a right thing? Would you say no to your daughter?
It is a question of security.
Okay.
If we live in a secure society, there's no matter what the boy doing or the girl's doing, they can do same things at the same time. But for girls in our society, we live in Bangladesh, it is sometimes very difficult in the case of security, regarding security. But after I think that son and daughter are equal for me, for every parents, and for their education and everything, their opinion, all the things are same for their children. They are not son or daughter, they are children for them. And I think that it is not fair to discriminate daughter and son. It is
Okay.
not fair, I think so.
Thank you very much. So we have our valued
Yeah.
opinions. Also, we support women's liberty, that
Yeah.
we support girls to go ahead. But as parents, we see to their safety first.
Yeah. That's
And the thing is that we have to make them understand that you are equal to us, but
Yeah.
it's for your own good we are doing. And hopefully they will abide
Yeah.
and understand. But then that is a question of discipline also, right? Like we begin disciplining our children, saying no and expecting to listen to the no. So disciplining has also changed over time, no question. Even if you go to 100 years back, it was different to what it is today or what it will be in the future. So to Parveen, I will ask, there was a very strong rules of discipline. That was a Victorian dictum. The children can be seen but should not be heard. So do you think that can be applied now or to some extent, or do we give more voice to the children, especially when they're growing up? I mean, now we are talking about growing up children.
Yeah, growing up children. I don't think that the Victorian type of discipline is needed for today, but there are sometimes some kind of discipline we can bestow on them. But you know that in our time when we growing up, sometimes my parents, they are very strict to us, and you know when my daughters were young, I also had the same opinion that either mom or dad must be strict to children. But now I changed my opinion. And I now understand that the children must have their own opinion, and if we can understand them, then they can obey our. But we cannot only strict on them and make them to do or ask them or demand that they will obey our, and every step they should obey ours. But I think that if we can make them understand that it is not good for you or it is bad for you, then they can understand. And now, so for this reason, the parenting is changing also, I think so.
Okay.
And instead of scolding, instead of making them to understand, it is this time parenting methods, I think so.
Okay, thank you. So as you said, I mean, instead of scolding and forcing, that is what we mean as getting to them through love and being gentle to them while we teach the ways of the world.
Yeah.
Isn't that so? So Kiran, your time when you were being parented by your parents, from the time you are parenting your children, so do you sometimes think that you apply to what you have learned from your parents to your own kids? Does that happen? I mean, you think what you learned as parenting from your time, do you apply it on your kids? Or do you think it's better you use your own judgment, what you have learned with the current parenting?
Yep. The fact is, I love to love my kids as my parents loved me. They give us the value of families, the affection. So I want to carry and generate these values to my kids. So definitely I have applied so many things which I have parented by my parents. Definitely.
Okay. So the thing is that from the past, we carry on the learnings we have to this day. And with the increase of knowledge with science and technology, we know that while we cannot change our own past, but we can learn it and change it for the betterment of our children. Now let's think of the gadget world. That's like for us parents, for Parveen, it's a like whole world of difference. When I had problems with raising kid, it was like calling up mom and asking mom what to do. She was the Google for us in the parenting scene.
Yeah.
So I see that we just, even when I am with my children, they never ask me, seldom ask me anything at all. What they do is take up their cell phone or the laptop and Google what to do. So what do you think, Parveen? Do you think this Googling answers and asking your moms, between that, which do you think is better immediately for the family? Experience via the knowledge we have on the internet.
It's a tough question. How can I answer this? Because
it can be your personal experience.
Yeah, if Googling is not so bad for me, for the generation, because anything is, if we want to know, we can Google it. But you know that in our time, when we have question with our children, with our kids, we ask my mother or my grandmother. There was one question, one answer. But now in Google time, you ask a question and their answer have lots and lots of answers.
Oh, that's
Which answer you will
interesting.
pick up? That is the problem, I think so. But if mother and grandmother is living far away, to whom you ask the question, then this time parents have to Googling this. It is the question. And for the gadget, for the children, it is easy way for today's parents to keep busy their children. And it is, I'm not blaming them because they have no time. They have to, they have class time, they have to go out, they have job, they have household work, everything. How can they give so many times to their children? So gadget is okay, but if it is have a limited time, it is okay. But you can give the gadget for 24 hours.
Okay.
I think so.
So that's for our children, and it is right, because with migration now the daughter can live in one part of the world, the mother in the another part of the world, and while the daughter beginning the day, mom is fast asleep. So we cannot call either, the mom is not available. And that's an interesting point you bring up, that when we Google, we get multiple answers.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think quite often what boils down to the thumb rule is that you have to understand your child and what is needed for your child, what is better in that context in the society where he or she lives. So coming to Mohammad, the younger generation, who is, I'm sure, much more gadget-oriented and dependent on Google Mother. So how often do you listen to Google's answers or internet? How often do you explore to find your parenting questions?
Yes, the fact is, exploring knowledge is a good thing, first of all. So ask the Google. You will find lots of answers though. But you know your culture and which is good for parenting for you. Then you can choose the right answer to do. But meanwhile, you can also ask the same question or some suggestions from your older one. And then you can match which is best for your kid. As you said, I know my kid, so I know what will be better for my kid. I think this is the best criteria to do.
Yes. So this is a time when parenting has become an global but choice issue, right?
Yeah.
When we get our children ready, it's not for one society, one country. We never know where our child is going to drop.
True.
Which part of the world. So it's more difficult than ever. Every way you teach the manners. Like in Bangladesh also, we eat our fingers, but we teach our children to eat knives and forks, because you never know, they will go to Western country, they have to learn it all over, and other manners as well. We have to teach them much more than our own culture. Family values even extend to possible of merging values that will come to their life, so that are more flexible, they are able to take in more, right?
I agree.
So as we know, parenting puzzles are endless. They are like jigsaw puzzles. Only one piece are missing. Always something is missing. You never know which one is perfectly fit for your child. You may think you know your child, and then after some time you see that's not fitting either. then you decide what we all know, that a child is his or her being, and while we guide, while we hope he or she will be a good human being and have a good contribution to the world. And we'll be back after a short break.